and it's supposed to symbolize the Korean concubines that Japanese soldiers took. I mean, big whoop, to be honest. If you ask me, all these women were lucky because they got spared death, and all they had to do was let some guys suck on their toes.
Well, guys, we are back once again, and this time around, we will be taking a look at one of the dumbest videos that I think I have ever seen. And right when it's looking like the Johnny Somali situation just can't get any more dumb, and seems like it is just at the max level of goofiness that can be achieved, we just have some random ass goober coming along and taking a page right out of Johnny's book, and using what I can only consider as rage bait to make some of the worst points and statements that he possibly could while trying to defend his hero, Johnny Somali. And I have just been seeing a ton of these rage bait type videos popping up in my feed, where they just try to defend someone like Jack Doherty or Johnny Somali all for the views. And normally I just go ahead and ignore them, but this one right here is just so out of pocket and downright devious that we just have to talk about it. Because the owner of this channel, which I'm not about to name, just so that this guy doesn't get any more interaction, seems to be a Division 1 All-American Johnny Somali meat writer. Because this isn't the first time that he has been defending this man Johnny, and in fact has been trying to cover for his actions for quite a while now. And he has dedicated so much time to this, and went on so many different rants, that I'm beginning to think that this might not be complete rage bait. And even if it is, he is still just pulling the same type of bullshit that Johnny pulls, by just trying to piss people off, all in order to just gain a little bit of clout and maybe even some pocket change. And in doing so, he is just saying some really obnoxious and disgusting things that seem to only come from a place of ignorance. And I mean, let's be real, there are people actually donating to Johnny, so that means there are people who are stupid enough to hold these viewpoints. So we're gonna go ahead and humor this dickhead and dismantle some of these absolutely horrific arguments, while also getting a laugh at what it looks like for a man to attempt to ride Johnny Somali, because the glazing and meat riding is just completely insane.
So you might have seen that a couple of weeks ago, I think, Johnny Somali got arrested, and he's being held in Korea, facing some charges, I guess. This time he went to Korea and he filmed a bunch of stuff, but some of the controversial things were when he would interact with these comfort women statues in Korea. And if you're not aware of what that is, it's a statue of a little girl, and it's supposed to symbolize the Korean concubines that Japanese soldiers took. I mean, big whoop, to be honest. If you ask me, all these women were lucky because they got spared death, and all they had to do was let some guys suck on their toes.
And yeah, just off the first impression, you can already see where this is going. Because my man is sitting here trying to whisper like he stayed up past his bedtime and he's trying to avoid waking his parents, while also making some of the most insulting and just dickhead statements that he possibly could about the Comfort Woman statue, which, if you don't already know, were built in remembrance of the girls and women who were sexually enslaved by the Imperial Japanese Army. So naturally, when Johnny Somali was pretending to finger these statues and was rubbing his ass on it, a ton of people got pissed off. And when this guy is trying to defend these awful actions, even if it is rage bait, him going out of his way to say some just out of pocket shit about the statues is just making an attempt at the same exact thing that Johnny Somali did, which is to basically just over sexualize these statues by saying the women were getting their toes sucked on, all so that you can just try and gain a little bit of clout. And it's just completely wild and straight up degenerate behavior, considering that these statues are in honor of people who were SA'd. And overall, little bro over here is just giving off some straight Reddit mod type vibes. Like, we're talking neck, beard, and all.
Why is Korea worshipping whores instead of supporting the people that actually died protecting the country, which were men? The real statues should be of the men who risked their lives and died in combat. Anyway, getting sidetracked. About Johnny Somali though, a bunch of people made videos, predictably, because they always do whenever he makes headlines. And they all got their views, which is whatever, but to speak on Johnny himself, I think what he's doing is pretty interesting. He's like the first person to ever go to Asia and basically do what Ice Poseidon and Asian Andy did here. And this is important because Asian Andy did the same thing, if not more egregious, here in America. He blasted music everywhere, even at the DMV, but America is not some backwater, so they didn't arrest him or beat him up or anything insane like that. And if any of you remember this, Sam Pepper snuck into a zoo overnight, and I don't think anything ever happened to him. Compare that to Japan. Johnny was arrested and jailed for like 2 months, and all because he blasted music in a restaurant and he walked into a construction site. How insane is that?
And yeah, when you're trying to attempt to defend someone by comparing their actions to Sam Pepper, your argument is already completely fucked. And I do think that he's just trying to piss people off with these statements. Or at least I hope he is. Because if he's dead serious right now, my guy has the IQ of a damn walnut. And it's just so interesting how Johnny Somali's fans are exactly like him, where they will say and do anything that they can that is somewhat insulting, all in a big attempt to just anger people for no reason. And it just serves no purpose for society. And then when they receive some type of consequences for their actions, they immediately start backpedaling. Like, just look at Johnny. He got chin-checked like 4 times and just ended up folding on literally everything that he stood on. And the craziest part is, if this guy is this stupid and he is just somehow serious right now, homie just does not understand the concept of trespassing, which I guess is something that most Johnny Somali fans must not understand. Because they all just seem to support him as he goes ahead and just trespasses on multiple different places like the construction site. So it seems like my man Johnny has managed to form himself a fan base on the same exact mental capacity that he has. Like, they are just all out here fighting for the 5 brain cells that they share.
Here's the thesis of my video. Johnny Somali is an American citizen, and seeing as how America basically rules the world, arresting an American is basically an act of war. Who does Korea think it is to arrest an American? And on what? Nothing. He basically made a mockery of these statues. Big deal. That happens like every single day in America. But those people don't go to jail. You can literally smash down statues and nothing happens. All Johnny did was like dance in front of it. How's that a crime? Now compare that to the people that basically were stalking him and assaulting him the whole time he was in Korea. There's this fat piece of shit, he's so disgusting looking. And he was basically stream sniping Somali until he found him. And when he did, moments later, some stranger came and he attacked Somali. I'm sure you've seen the video by now.
Like, at this point, bro is so full of shit that I don't even think he believes what he's saying. But here's the crazy thing. I have seen people making this argument that actually believe it when trying to defend Johnny. Even though it sounds completely brain dead, I have actually seen people saying this dumb shit, and I'm pretty sure that they meant it. And I think that is the biggest issue with people like Johnny Somali, because it always seems like the extreme people that end up following them and end up supporting their terrible actions tend to be way worse than Johnny himself. And then you just end up with random people like this guy right here, who end up trying to copy him and gain clout like he did by just going and annoying people on the damn subway in Japan. And there are so many people doing this that they are even putting up signs in Japan stating that in these public areas, it's not a damn circus performance. So at this point, Johnny is literally inspiring people to be as big of a douchebag as he is. And channels like this that are just spouting bullshit are doing the same exact thing. And it just influences more and more people to just be absolute nuisances for literally no reason at all. Like, it's just crazy work.
I don't know why people hate him. I think it's just because they have this obsession with Asia. There's a certain type of person, like a PewDiePie, weeaboo sort of guy who lives in the West. And basically Japan and Korea are their, I don't know, literally their holy land. It's basically their Israel. And if anyone insults their holy land, they want him to basically die. Even though there's obvious like human rights violations here. Like, you can't arrest somebody for just walking into a construction site or blasting music. How is that an arrestable and jailable charge? You ban him from the country. And now in Korea, he basically danced and made fun of the Koreans, and he's going to be arrested and possibly jailed. That's insane. But, you know, whatever. So yeah, first it was Japan on the hit list, but now you can consider Korea to be added to that list as well. These two countries are enemies of America and patriotism. Would I go as far as to say we need to nuke them? Well, this is YouTube, so I can't say that, but I'm sure you know my answer on that. Hiroshima, Nagasaki, all the way, including Korea.
Dude, what in the flying fuck is this guy even out here yapping about anymore? Like, bro's just spitting out bullshit. Homie is doing so many mental gymnastics to get a reaction that it's unreal. And then he just ends it with a hashtag free Somali. And it is just so damn ridiculous. Because my man went as far as to state that they needed to be nuked again, all to just try and get a reaction. And yet again, I have to say, it just shows you the type of fans that Johnny Somali actually has. To where they are learning his tactics and doing whatever the hell they have to try to make a quick buck. And it's definitely just rage bait to do that, just like Johnny does. But man, it is just so stupid that I just can't help but make a video on it. Like, this is top tier brain rot right here. And honestly, it's kind of sad to see, because I can tell he's a little bit young. And from what it sounds like, he is looking up to people like Johnny Somali and Ice Poseidon, and maybe even Sam Pepper. Which, if you're not familiar with the other two, all I can tell you is that they are not good role models. And I would even bet that this guy is a huge Jack Doherty fan. And you just hate to see people buying into these rage bait tactics, because even if they pay off, and even if you do somehow make some money off of it, it always ends up catching up with you. And that's how you end up like Johnny Somali, facing multiple years in prison. But with all that said, I just had to cover it, because you just don't see something this stupid every day. And it was just so out of pocket and foolish that it's almost even funny. But overall, I think I have fully proven my point, and I think I'm done here. So if you enjoyed, please drop the sub and the like, and I'm out. Watching a Johnny Somali fanboy do some crazy glazing, and peace.